record it. And I think you might have seen on your screen something pop up that says that we are now recording. Dave, can you confirm that?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. So I think we can advance and go to the next slide.
Yes, and I'd like to acknowledge the original inhabitants of this place, the Snohomish people and their successors, the Tulalip tribes, who since time immemorial have taken care of, hunted, fished, and gathered on these lands. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and we honor their sacred spiritual connection to the land and water. By acknowledging these homelands, we commit to working with tribal nations to further the educational aims they have identified in our classrooms and schools.
Thank you, Dave.
And the first day of school for us and for everyone in grades 1 through 12 will be next Wednesday, September 8th. So a week from today, we'll have completed our first day of school. Kindergartners, if you had younger students in your households, their first day of school will be the following Monday, September 13th. And for those folks planning way ahead, our last day of school will be Friday, June 24th, 2022.
One of the most common question is who are my teachers? Who are my teachers? So we wanted to make sure that you know that you'll be able to see your teachers' names and their classrooms at 3:30 on the day before school starts. We are continually balancing classes right now. And so if you did see what classes you were assigned to, chances are very likely they would not be accurate. So the schedules will be turned on at 3:30 on Tuesday, September 7th. And then just keep checking back. It could be different from when you look at it at 3:30 on Tuesday to when you come to school at 7:30. We start at 8. So many of you will be en route to school at 7:30, and that it could be different then. So the best place to check for your schedule is online on Skyward.
And a lot of people, they're wondering, well, what's it going to be like at school, and what are the classrooms going to be like? So we'd like to show you a few pictures of just kind of a general classroom environment at Scriber. So this is one of our science classrooms on the left. And you'll notice that that there are fewer chairs in the room than probably normal. We have students spaced farther apart, trying to maintain as much distance between folks as possible. We also have you'll notice that the windows are open, and whenever possible, they will remain open. Our HVAC systems are working, all the time to make sure that we're processing a lot of clean air through the school, not only when students are in the room and teachers in school, but also at off hours as well, just so we can make sure that we're passing as much air through the school as we possibly can. On the right-hand side, you'll notice this is one of our sanitation stations. One of these is located in each classroom as students come in the door. And you'll notice on there that there is hand sanitizer, there are cleaning wipes, paper towels, and desktop cleaners for students to use. So we encourage students to sanitize their hands multiple times daily, and also to clean their space as they leave the classroom. So teachers will most likely be stopping class with 3 or 4 minutes to go at least in the class period, so that students have time to go back, gather their materials, and then come and wash their student area. We also encourage students, if they'd like, when they transition to their next classroom, if they feel more comfortable taking some materials off the sanitation station and re-cleaning the area that the former students had just cleaned, that's great, that's totally fine, and they can use as much hand sanitizer as they'd like. In our hallways, this is our H wing. You'll notice that there's the pink or orange circles on the ground with black arrows. We're asking students to maintain a traffic flow through the hallways to always remain on the right-hand side. We have arrows reminding them that it's really a one-way area and not to cross over. This will minimize face-to-face, close contact interactions in the hallways. And again, the tours we've given to students and the students that were back last spring for in-person learning, I think really understood this, and they were very cooperative and compliant with us, and understanding that following these rules allows us all to be safe and allows us to maintain our educational environment and allows us to keep school open and everyone learning. And these are photos of one of our bathrooms in the F wing. You'll notice in the middle picture, you'll see little plastic flippers that say vacant. We ask that no more than 2 students total be in any bathroom at once. That's quite a reduction in what a bathroom can, the capacity of a bathroom, but we feel it's safest if only 2 students are in there. When a student enters the bathroom, as long as there's one of those vacant notices, they would flip it to the left, and on the other side it says occupied. If they come to the bathroom and they just before they walk in, they notice that both of the flippers say occupied, that means there's 2 people in the bathroom, and they would either go back to class and wait a little bit, or just wait out in the hallway for a minute or so until the student vacates the restroom, and then they can go ahead and go in. We also ask students to kind of keep in mind that when they exit the bathroom, to flip their flipper back to vacant, so students in the hallway know that there's a space available. We also have posters near the bathrooms, but also in other spots, reminding students, many of the things that they already know and practice, but it's always nice to just keep people, keep it in mind that, we want to wash our hands as often as we can. We want to keep our hands away from our face, our nose and mouth. We can clean and disinfect our work areas, cover coughs and sneezes. And if you feel sick, and we'll emphasize this later on as well, please stay home. It's safest for everyone to not be at school. On the far right, we have several water bubblers in various areas where students can fill up a paper cup of water. We also encourage students to bring reusable water containers from home, plastic, Nalgene, whatnot, that you can fill up at school. That way we minimize the use of paper cups, which which is always a good thing to do. The drinking fountain in the H wing, which you'll see on the far right, is not available to drink from, but it is available to fill your water bottle from. So there's water available in all of the different areas in the school, in both wings, in the main office, and also in the gym.
All right, thank you, Dave. You can see here some of the seating options for our students. I think that's one of the questions that's stirring in a lot of families' minds right now is where will my student be eating and how will that look? Our cafeteria, which I do not have pictures of because you might have heard of Nourishing Network. It is part of the Edmonds Schools Foundation, and they provide a lot of meals for a lot of the students and families in our district. Anyway, they are occupying our cafeteria, and they will vacate it by the first day of school. But the cafeteria is very large, but if students are choosing to eat inside, they will need to sit 6 feet apart, all facing the same direction. I don't know about you, but with high school age students, for us, we want to be able to encourage healthy socialization at meal times. And so on the left-hand side here, you can see a bank of picnic tables. They're right outside my window here, actually at work. And then you can see a large courtyard right next to them in the middle photo with more picnic tables kind of over by the building that houses the boiler room. And I've ordered 7 more picnic tables to fill this area. When we came back to school in hybrid in the spring, almost 100% of our students ate out in this in the picnic table courtyard area. And so our expectation is that masks are on all of the time. But when you're eating, you can remove your mask. put your food in your mouth, put it back on, chew, swallow, all those good things. I just took a picture of the breezeway because we have so many of these on our campus. And I envision that when the weather turns, as it will, we still have the capacity to house a lot of our students outdoors. So if they're indoors, they will be seated 6 feet apart at tables facing the same direction. But if they're outdoors, they will not, we will encourage them to be as distant as possible, but they will have a little more freedom of movement. All right. This is a crazy map. But I was trying to figure out the best way to show folks where you would drop your student off. So if you can see the orange colored line, that is where the buses are going to be. And we are so excited, elated that our school is offering busing to all students. Every student is getting routed onto a bus route as we speak. It should probably already be done. And so there will be several buses here in the morning. So if you're one of the families electing to drive your student to school, what I recommend is the turquoise section. The turquoise section is the first parking lot you would encounter when you come up the hill. And I just suggest probably dropping your student off there, because if you come over into the area where the orange and yellow scribbles are, you're going to get stuck in a big backup of buses and that are trying to come and go and unload students and all that good stuff. So we suggest that if you are dropping Scriber students off, you drop them in that kind of turquoise area. The other thing I would say is, if you are a student and you're fortunate enough to have a car and you're going to drive to school, the area kind of in the middle of the orange, the end of the orange line, that is the student parking lot. And then the parking where the turquoise is, anybody can park there also. So there's plenty of parking on campus for everybody. But you, if you're there early enough and there's space in the closer lot, you can park there. Otherwise, you'll park somewhere in one of those other large lots on campus. And students do not need parking passes. Oh, excuse me, they don't need to purchase parking passes, but we want to know if students are bringing a vehicle in case of emergencies. So we set that up as students arrive to just let us know what vehicle is theirs and get a parking pass, but it does not cost anything. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry, did I?
Nope, I think we're good. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so for everyone's safety and health, as we talked about, masks are required inside and outside while on campus. We encourage students to maintain social distance as much as possible. And before arriving at school or a district building, please check for COVID-19 symptoms, which we'll talk about in just a second. We are not doing attestations this year, so we're really relying on our teachers and our students to monitor their own health, and if they're not feeling well, to stay home. We also have a very comprehensive health and safety handbook for our students, staff and families, and it's available at the district website right here. So, Andrew, I don't know if this is something that you'd like to put in the chat, or.
There it is, dropped in the chat. So
Awesome.
The link is in the chat if you'd like it.
Thank you.
Dave, I did just see a question in the chat about vaccination, and I'm just going to promise our viewers that we will get to that. So
Okay.
carry on, Dave.
And again, there's a lot of information in this handbook, and information is changing all the time. So our district is very good about updating it as new information arrives from the health department. So please check it occasionally to make sure that there are updates, that you are aware of those. And again, at this time, we will not be doing the attestations that you fill out before you come to school on the Chromebooks or on your computer. We're asking that you monitor that from home, and we'll commit to doing the same things. We know that sometimes teachers will come to school when they're not feeling well because they don't want to miss school, but we've really had a shift in mindset around that, and we want to make sure that we're keeping our students and our colleagues as safe as we possibly can. So we're going to be really mindful of that as well.
Okay, I just wanted to cover again the symptoms. So if you are monitoring health, we're just going to cover the symptoms of COVID-19 with you. If your student is experiencing a fever of higher than 100.4, a cough, and that would be for people who, if people have a chronic allergic or asthmatic cough, this cough would be something that's different from their baseline. Shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, chills, unusual fatigue, muscle and body aches. Also, if you have a new onset of a headache, a sore throat, the sudden loss of taste or smell, congestion or runny nose, and note that it is unrelated to seasonal allergies. So if you experience seasonal allergies, that would be something just to monitor. Nausea or vomiting and diarrhea. So those are all of the symptoms that are on the list to be monitoring for COVID-19. And Dave kind of touched on this before, but we do have routine cleaning procedures in place. In addition to having those sanitation stations available for students and the expectation that they will sanitize their workspace on the way out and any other time they feel like they want to. We do have custodial staff who makes rounds several times a day to sanitize high touch surfaces. And we do also, our district has made sure that all of our HVAC systems, all of the filters are clean and fresh and updated, and all of our HVAC is actually running at its fullest capacity 100% of the time. So it's like being on full blast all of the time, even if we're not here. In fact, sometimes it's hard to open the doors because the air is on blowing so hard and fiercely inside our buildings. But we know that it's one of the good mitigation strategies to help move air so that aerosol particles get moved on as fast as possible.
And we asked, and actually it's required, that everyone washes, sanitizes their hands upon entering a building, and washes and or sanitizes their hands frequently throughout the day. So whether that's with soap and water in the bathroom or that's with hand sanitizer in the classrooms, please, we have plenty of supplies available. So we just ask students to do that. And again, the students who were here last spring did a really nice job, and we anticipate students doing the same thing now. I have a short video to play about hand washing. It's always a great reminder, and this video, it just makes me happy. So see if I can link to it, and here goes.
One way to stop the spread of germs is to wash your hands. When you get to school, the first thing you would do is wash your hands. Let's talk about the best way to wash your hands. Step 1. Use warm water and soap. Rub your hands really well and make lots of bubbles. Step 2. Wash for 20 seconds. That's like singing happy birthday 2 times. Step 3. Rinse your hands really well. Step 4. Use a paper towel to make sure they're nice and dry. Shut off the water using the paper towel and throw the paper towel away in the bin. Washing hands with warm water and soap is the best. The other option is to use hand sanitizer. There will be several times throughout the day for you to wash your hands or sanitize.
Okay. And we also ask that students not only wear a mask, but also wear it properly. So there's a short video about proper mask wearing, and I'll play that for you now as well.
What you need to know about mask wearing at school. Before you leave for school, be sure to grab a clean mask and 2 or 3 extras to keep with you. You'll also need a bag or a container to put your used masks in if they get dirty and wet while you're at school. That's when those extra masks will come in handy. If If you forget your mask or run out of clean masks at school, don't worry. Your school will have an extra for you to wear. Now let's talk about the correct way to put on, wear, and remove your face mask. Step 1. Wash or sanitize your hands. Step 2. Hold your mask by the ear loops when you put it on over your ears. Step 3. Make sure it fits well across your face. The mask needs to be over your nose and under your chin and fit snugly around your face. If your mask has an adjustable piece on the nose, pinch it so it fits really well. Step 4. When your mask gets dirty, wet, or it's time to take it off, remove it by the ear loops. Don't touch the front of the mask. That's where the germs are. Place the mask in a container or in a storage bag that you brought from home for safekeeping. If your mask can be thrown away, put it in the garbage. If your mask is the kind you can reuse, be sure to take it home and wash it. Step 5. This is very important. Make sure after you take your mask off that you wash your hands or use sanitizer to wash those germs away.
Hey, let's see. I think this is you, Andrew.
Yeah, it is me. So this is just so people are aware about who is allowed in our school. At this time, schools are only open to students and district staff. So we will not be having any guests into our schools. Guests can be included perhaps on a Zoom into a classroom. But if you're a non-school individual, you'll not be allowed on campus. Our main office, if you're having an emergency, absolutely, if you have urgent business, we are open to see you. But just for safety and health purposes, we are keeping our schools closed to outsiders that don't have a purpose on our campus. And there was a question about will the students be required to get the vaccine? And the answer to that question is no. The vaccine is required for all school employees. So I think you may have heard the governor decree that all school employees between now, they have until October 18th to get vaccinated. The vaccine is available to anyone 12 years and older at this time. And you can go to the Snohomish County Health District website and find many vaccination sites. We also have many right here down the hill from our school. So there are many places where you can walk in and get vaccinated or start the vaccination process. I did want to say, kind of overarching all of this, that the most important thing is layering our mitigation strategies. So it's one thing to wear a mask yourself. It's another thing if all of the people around you are also wearing masks. It prevents spread. If everybody is practicing good hand hygiene, it prevents spread. If everybody is keeping distance to the best of their ability from the people around them, it prevents spread. And so all of these are the layered mitigation strategies that we're using to open our schools in the safest and healthiest way that we can for our kids. One of those other parts of the strategy, one of those other strategies is getting the vaccine. All of the students at school are old enough and eligible to get the vaccine. So that's a decision you make with your family and with your healthcare providers. But it helps to prevent the spread if you are able to go ahead and get vaccinated. We do have testing at school. It is available to students with parent permission and staff this year. So this is another key to our mitigation efforts at school. It is available in all district schools. So if you have students in other schools, every school has testing available. Here's a big question. What happens if my student has to stay home because they are on quarantine? So we do have a learning plan for that time. Students will receive their assignments to complete at home. You were used to accessing Canvas last year. And so, Dave, I'm pretty sure, I don't know of any teacher not planning on running classes, their classroom platform off of Canvas. So all of your classroom materials will be available on campus if you're missing school. There is a link in the slideshow to the district's attendance policy, but having to quarantine is an excused absence, and that will be part of what happens. If the Department of Health asks us to have an entire classroom or the school quarantine because of an outbreak, we will revert to remote learning. We will just have to do that. And they might close a wing of a school, they might close a whole school. So even if other schools are operational, if the school your student attends does shut down, learning will continue in the remote fashion that we all experienced last year. Next slide, Dave. Part of that is that students will be required to bring their Chromebook to and from school every day in the event that we have to contact you for that purpose. So students will continually have access to what's happening at school if that unfortunately does happen at our school.
Okay, well, at this time, the Washington State Department of Health's guidelines ensures that all students have access to their chosen performing arts courses if they take them. And also, all students are able to participate in all regular fall athletics. So if some of our students do participate in athletics at their home high school, and if you are participating in that, I'm sure you already know what your schedule is. If you are participating in a winter or spring sport, at this point, we're planning on regular schedules, and you can find out more information at the district website on athletics, and definitely from the school that you homeschool about those specific practices and activities that they might be having. School bus information, again, all passengers and drivers are required to wear a mask while on the bus. The drivers definitely will. And we'll be sending out route information very quickly. Actually, I think it's already in Skyward. Yeah, it was in Skyward a week ago. So you can go into Skyward and find out what if your student rides a bus, if they live more than a mile away from school, what time the bus arrives, and what corner the bus arrives. And we're, again, I think Andrea mentioned, we're very excited to have district transportation. This is a real step forward for us. Okay, we have the Edgelog Parent Portal app as a way to access your students' bus ride information. Again, you can find that at this website. And Andrea, I don't know if you're dropping that into the chat or if it's on the district website, but if you'd like to find out more, although again, your students' information is in Skyward.
The cool part about having the Edgelog Parent Portal is that it has, I believe it has trackers in it. So you can see where the bus is on the app. So that is why we have that set up. Well, not why we have it set up, but it is another tool for families. Transportation is available only to in-district students. If you are an out-of-district student, you will have to find your own transportation here. We do have a bus stop at the bottom of the hill. Community Transit bus 130 stops right here below our campus. So that is one way that some families have opted to get their students to school. let's see. I do have a couple other questions that I wanted to address, but we have a Q&A at the end. So why don't we carry on to the next slide, Dave, and then we are very close to the end and we will address all of those questions.
Yeah, thank you all for your patience. And this year's great news, free breakfast and lunch for all students. So no one needs to punch in a number or bring money to school. We really have a cashless system this year. Meals are free for all students in school for the entire school year. The menu, it says it's available on August 30th. I went in to check just before the meeting to see what's for lunch next week, and I don't think it's actually loaded yet, but it should be. I know that a couple elementary schools, they have macho nachos week after next. So I'm looking forward to that.
Who remembers the macho nachos?
Macho nachos are the best.
Yeah.
And you see, I can hear it. Everyone remembers. And I love school lunches too, so I'm really psyched about this. Staff lunches are not free for staff, but they're still delicious, and I plan on eating one. Students who are eligible, please do complete a free and reduced meal application if you can, please, because there are additional benefits that come with that. Some financial support for course fees and other fees that a student might have to pay during the school year. Those would all be waived. So there's still really good reasons to fill out that free and reduced lunch form. And if you need financial support, the applications are available on the district website. And I don't know if Andrew, if you're dropping this in the chat, but you can go to the district website and find this, or you can call us at school, and one of us would be glad to direct you to this information because it's important. And if you, just a second, there's also the phone number there that you can write down to call.
Dave, my chat has totally frozen. And so is my ability to have any controls in this meeting.
Okay, wow. Okay, well, as soon as I stop sharing, I'll see if I have any. And we'll just go from there. We're just about to the end, so let's see here. Andrew, I think you have the Skyward slide.
Yeah, you put it great. So Skyward is our system for families to access educational records. You can see attendance in there. You can see bus stops in there. You can see grades in there. You can see schedules in there. So that if you have not yet made your Skyward account active, this would be the time to do that. I have the link prepared to put in the chat, but I cannot manage the chat right now. Dave, I don't know. It doesn't say you're a co-host anymore either. So I don't know exactly what's happening.
Okay, well, let's see. When I stop sharing, maybe we'll be able to see a little better. And we are hiring, our district is hiring specifically for bus drivers and food service workers. So if you have an interest in driving a bus or working in one of our cafeterias, one of our schools this fall, please let us know. And again, you can give us a call. We can direct you to either one of these two departments, and I'm sure they would be happy to talk with you further. Now, I'm going to stop sharing and invite anyone who, if they can put their question in the chat, great. If not, if you'd like to ask it aloud, that would be great too. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all. I'm seeing you all for the first time.
Dave, I can almost see nothing, but there was a really great question that came up in the chat, and it was about whether or not the school has gender neutral bathrooms. And I can say that, yes, indeed we do. We have one in each wing so that students have a spot to be, a private spot, one in the F wing, one in the H wing, and we cover that with students as they come to the school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I am looking through and saying, I see, hi, Bruce. How you doing? I'm just looking at the chat for the first time. So I'm going to go through now and see if I can find some questions. My daughter had a lot of issues with the bus last year, passing by here on the route. Have these kinks been worked out?
I would say I hope so, because they're routing all students. Last year, if you remember correctly, you had to request it if you wanted it. This year, they're just routing all students. However, I noticed in something I read in the last 24 hours that we are like 60 bus drivers short right now. So we will transport your children to school and we will transport them home if you're in district families. But transportation is probably going to take a little bit longer than we might expect it to once we get that all worked out. I think the other thing I haven't said yet about the buses is that there won't be assigned seating on the buses because we have cameras on the buses. So if we're in a position to do contact tracing, we will be able to see that. But everybody on the bus will need to be masked, drivers included, and the windows are all to be open at least 1 inch to guarantee that airflow through the bus itself.
Great. And another bus question. How many students will be allowed in a school bus? Will social distancing be possible?
To the extent that you're able to distance on the bus, it is the distancing that there is. So there's not a cap for the amount of students that they're putting on a bus beyond the cap of the number of students. I would say that we are fortunate at this school because we're so small and because we're pulling kids from the whole district, that the census, the number of students on each bus, will likely be lower because of that. So you know, it's great to come to Scriber where we have many fewer students, I think, than the 13 or 1400 that'll be showing up in the larger schools. And also I have a hunch, although it's just an operating understanding for me, that there would be fewer students on a bus, but they won't be keeping 6 feet between students on a bus.
Okay, thank you. And I have a question from Jared who asks, so I have my Chromebook and school books from last year at Mount Lake Terrace. What do I do with those?
Well, that is a great question. Your Chromebook, bring with you to school. If you have books from Terrace, please return them to Terrace. So they will be happy to see you marching through the door with your school books. But the Chromebook is yours and you should bring it here. We're not changing Chromebooks because you're changing schools.
Awesome. Shout out to Aiden who asked the question, what are school hours? Aiden, school starts at 8 o'clock sharp and ends at 2:03. Question, if we don't see bus info in Skyward, where should we call to confirm? It may be that it's being loaded now, but should folks call transportation, Andrea, if they're not seeing their students' transportation information in Skyward yet?
What I would say is that if you are a new student, transportation just got your names this week, and it takes at least 3 days to route you. So I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. I think, yes, you could call them. I wouldn't promise that you're going to get called back because they're just like swamped right now. But we have submitted our newest entry kids' names to transportation. And so they are in the process of routing you all as we speak. So just keep checking back in Skyward. I would say it's probably advisable to make a backup plan for transportation on the first day of school, if at all possible, because of this very issue.
Okay. Question from Stephanie, when will COVID testing take place and can it be requested by the student or a teacher?
Okay, so maybe a student wants to get tested. We will test students with parent permission. Maybe a teacher has a particularly sneezy student in their classroom. A teacher can't request that a student get COVID tested, But we have procedures and protocols in place for if a student presents with symptoms. We have a nurse on campus. We also have a health room assistant for monitoring symptoms, and we have a containment room for people who are exhibiting symptoms, and families will have to come pick those students up. Family can absolutely, at that point, if they're wondering if there's, they can request COVID testing here at school.
Great. And, Quinn always asks the deep questions, the hardest questions. Why is a pumpkin a fruit? And I think we'll just save that one until another time, because some questions are just unanswerable. We'll go to what is the earliest that campus is open? When can students come onto campus?
7:50. We do not have staff available to supervise before that. So 7:50 is when the floodgates open and Scriber Lake opens to our students.
Awesome. What time does first period start? That would start at 8 o'clock. And a question on the first day of school will be on a normal schedule or will be on a Wednesday schedule. And to answer that, we've got the first week of school, we have a slightly different schedule than we'll have for the subsequent weeks. We are going to make our family and SSR classes, those classes where you're meeting with your anchor adult and your other family classmates who you'll be traveling through the school year with. We're making those periods a little bit longer each time so that we have some time to build in tours of the building and an opportunity to go pick up a backpack filled with supplies and opportunities to do some activities with your class that make you feel more comfortable here at school. So the first week will be a little bit different. Block periods will be a little shorter. The family SSR periods will be a little bit longer, right? And then the following week, we'll transition to our normal schedule, which is 85-minute block periods and a shorter family and a shorter SSR. Again, this is all designed to make the first week go as well for you as possible, to make you feel comfortable and to help you get to know as many people as you're comfortable with, right? We won't put you in situations that make you feel uncomfortable, but offer an opportunity to meet new people and to be more comfortable with your environment. Okay, let's see. I'm going through again. There's all kinds of interesting comments. What is the protocol for special needs students who have trouble wearing masks?
Well, I am glad you asked that question. We have an amazing staff that works with our students who struggle to consistently wear their masks. I would say even our students who are most impacted last year, within 2 hours of coming to campus, they were almost 100% of the time wearing their masks. That I would also say that we just have the most amazing student body at Scriber, and we do have many programs running on campus for students with some more severe disabilities. And they are part of us and we are part of each other. And so we just make sure that we're watching out for each other. So if you are a student who doesn't experience those struggles, just be aware of your surroundings. And if you see somebody who might be struggling with that, just do the healthy thing and safe thing for you and for that student, and give them the space that they need to be safe and healthy. I hope that answers your question. If you have a student that struggles to wear their mask because of their disabilities, rest assured that we work with your students in those programs to help them build up their mask wearing stamina, and also know that all of the staff in those programs are equipped with really high quality respirators and 95s that they wear when they're with your student.
Gosh, I think we're at the end. Bruce asked a question about the extra credit bucks that I used to give out. Are they multi-generational, which means I think can you hand them off to your sister? Bruce, I'm not teaching a class this year, Bruce, so I'm not sure they would help anyone, but sure. Those are all the questions I think I see in the chat. If I missed one earlier, if you wouldn't mind putting it again, I certainly don't want to miss anyone or any questions. So please do add it at the end and I will go ahead and read it out. Okay, so I'll just wait a second here because someone might be typing. Okay, I don't see any further questions. And again, please, if you have a question, give us a call tomorrow. My number at school is 425-431-5869, and we would be glad to talk to you further. I see a question here. Are there lockers? No, that's a great question. Thank you. There are not lockers at Scriber. There are, so please bring your materials in your backpacks. And only, the first week or so, only what's really necessary. We'll provide everything else. And oftentimes teachers will, if they have a book that you're reading in the classroom. So we don't ask students to take a lot of materials home with them. Do students change clothes for PE class? Great question. No, they don't. If they want to, they can change short pants if they want to, but that's not a class requirement. And there's certainly no pressure to do so.
Well, my number, Dave gave his, mine, in case you're taking notes, is 425-431-7271. I'd also be happy to take any questions that you have. And I just don't want to leave this space without addressing, some of you may not have been here when the meeting started, but I think we had a Zoom bomber and it was really upsetting. And so I just wanted to share a poem with you that is something that that is posted at our school, and it's something that I have in the deepest parts of me, and I hope that you feel safe sending your kids to school. So this poem is from the culture of the Mayas, and it's called In La Quech. Tu eres mi otro yo. You are my other me. Si te hago daño a ti, if I do harm to you, me hago daño a mí mismo. I do harm to myself. Si te amo y respeto, if I love and respect you, me amo y respeto yo. I love and respect myself. So with all of the love that we have and that I hope that your student experiences and family when you come to Scriber, my heart hurts for whoever did that at the beginning of this meeting. And I'm very sorry that any of you had to experience that. But we have a giant Scriber family here, and hopefully you can feel the love coming through the Zoom. But we're so glad that you were here. If you are a new student and coming to the new student and family orientation, you should have several emails with that link in it. But I'm going to put the link for that meeting in the chat right now, so you can copy that and open the next Zoom, which starts in a whopping 3 minutes. Oh, no, I can't do that. I don't have access to the chat. It's on the website. So if you navigate to the slhs.edmonds.wednet.edu and you go to the school newsletter, the link is in there. And Dave, I don't know if you can see my calendar.
Yeah, I think I'm just dropping this into the chat now, the link for the next meeting. Let's see if I can do that. Hopefully this will work. Okay. That should be the Zoom link for the meeting that's starting in 2 minutes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. If you're coming over to the next Zoom, we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Can hardly wait to see you next week. Bye.
Bye, Dave. Bye, Andrea.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye. Dave, I can't even end the meeting, so
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to like X out of this.
Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll close things up, and I might stick around for just a minute or so, just in case anyone has a question, but otherwise I'll close out.
Okay, I don't also know if I close it out, if it's gonna stop it. So that's the only other thing. So,
Okay. Yeah.
all right, bye-bye. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, you bet. Take care. Thank you. Okay, so if anyone has a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close up the meeting. And again, thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay, now Andrea, I think you're the host.
Okay, it took me going out and coming back in. So it might be the same link. I might have planned that. So
Brilliant.
I'm gonna end this one and start the next one.
Okay. Would you like me to attend that?
No, but I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Okay.
Thank you. Lynn's with me
Yeah.
tonight. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.